what's interesting too. So Tyler Perry, who writes for The Atlantic, he's a African American man. He's a hunter, a fisher, very blue collar, very reasonable. He's actually one of my favorite writers, and he writes for The Atlantic. And he's kind of coming across this too. He's like, this sort of wokeness that's going on, it's very much a class thing. It's people at the top justifying, their places of privilege. And if you look at this, is actually kind of true across the history of communism and Marxism. It's always wealthy people who are the main drivers of it. They're always the activists. And psychologically, what we call this is a significance quest, right? Like, I was born wealthy. I recognize I'm driving around in a Lexus that my parents bought me. There's homeless people over here. There's, poor people over there. Well, I don't want to feel bad about that, right? I don't want to feel like I have so much and they have so little and I deserve it, because I've been told that's very bad. But if I become a social justice activist on their behalf, then I'm morally good. Then I'm justified in being born to wealth and being born to, all this. And the other part of it is, people who are working class have to work for a living. They go to their jobs, they come home to their kids, but if you have a lot of wealth and you come from wealth, you've got all the time, money in the world, and you've got a moral imperative to justify your place of privilege in the world.
I doubt there's many people who have to work 2 or 3 jobs who are very much concerned about microaggressions.
Yeah.
I think one of the things with this kind of elite consensus around wokeness is, if you say, hey, I was born into a lot of financial privilege, then someone could say, well, you could just give it away to somebody who needs it, or you could give it away to charity. But if you say, I have white privilege, you can't give that away. You're just it's just empty, hollow virtue signaling. You don't have to do anything about it. It's a way to kind of shift the conversation about from privilege that you could do something about to just kind of theoretical privilege, in a sense.
Yeah. Did you see Am I a Racist, Matt Walsh's movie?
Yes, I loved it.
And the dinners where it's like $3,000 or $4,000 per person to attend a dinner to be lectured about their white privilege. I mean, right? That's essentially like going to the Catholic Church and buying indulgences, right?
Yes, it is.
And I think one thing that the woke did really well is they really used empathy to make women feel guilty. They really hit that guilt hard. If you don't join us, if you're not part of this movement, if you're not, part of social justice, you're a terrible, terrible person. And, everything you have will be taken from you and your children will be ostracized. And it really scared a lot of people into compliance, or guilted a lot of people into compliance.